Hello and welcome to another episode of Focus On. My name is Kiamo Mosipele. We are in Durban at the Africa Travel Indaba, Africa's premier travel and tourism event, bringing together tourism ministers, buyers and sellers from across the continent and the globe to vie for Africa's tourism potential. We spoke to the Gauteng Tourism Authority on the role of Gauteng in advancing Africa's tourism and travel targets ahead of the G20 Summit. Madam CEO, thank you so much for your time. We are in the middle of the Africa Travel Indaba. When we look at the Gauteng Tourism Authority, I understand there are key objectives you'd like to achieve here. Just walk us through the day's proceedings up until this point.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. For us, Africa's Travel Indaba is a very important platform. We call it an annual pilgrimage for the tourism sector. So as Gauteng Tourism Authority, part of our objective is we want to increase the visibility of our destination to the outside world globally. And it is at Africa's Travel Indaba where you've got different buyers from some of our key source markets. So if you look at some of our international markets, UK, Germany and the US, our three key source markets, and you've got other countries in the rest of the continent that actually constitute key source markets for Gauteng. What we're showcasing this year is we want to actually push our value proposition around sports tourism, showcasing how we can link sports to drive the visitor economy. The second thing that we're focusing on is how do we leverage the creative economy to drive destination positioning. So essentially using our soft power to position Gauteng as a premier destination for both leisure and business events.
So staying on events, large events on the travel calendar, we know the later end of this year we are expecting the G20 Summit. Johannesburg, Gauteng is the venue of choice. What are some of the ways you have in place to also build on that?
So one of the critical things is, for us as a tourism authority is how do we curate the destination for the delegates who are coming to have discussions during the leadership summit. How do we curate a destination so that when delegates get here, they know over and above the meetings that they'll be attending, here are other experiences that you can have or you can buy in Gauteng. So what we've done as an authority is to curate a couple of itineraries which we have shared with the organizers of G20 so that at least when delegates come here, if they bring in partners or they bring in, other travel partners, they're able to do these experiences. Quite recently, we have got Mandela legacy sites that have been declared. So your Constitution Hill is one of them, Kliptown is one of them, Union Buildings. We've got, Chapville Memorial as well. So we curate these experiences and these attractions so that delegates can actually come in and experience that. We've got the likes of the Cradle of Humankind. We've got Maruping there. So these are the things or the experiences within our destination that we have now packaged so that delegates can come in and see that. But, in the build-up of the event, we do show our ability or our prowess in terms of hosting of events, whether it's leisure or business events. Quite recently in April, we had our Gauteng Investment Conference. Besides the fact that we were now wanting to attract, investment into the destination, we also are showcasing our ability to actually host very successful business events for future, investors into our province. But of course, I can't not mention our September program. Once we hit spring, we know that Gauteng buzzes with the likes of, we've got the art festival that we support. We've got the likes of DSTV Delicious that actually brings people into our destination. We've got the likes of Standard Bank Joy of Jazz that is in our destination. We've got a music and lifestyle expo towards November. So all of these events become like a build-up towards the summit itself. And we're looking at what other activities can we now package for those that would want to stay a bit longer in the destination after the summit. I mean, research tells us that those that come into a destination for a business event, 48% of those return into a destination as leisure travelers. So that's what we're trying to do, and leverage the media exposure that we would get out of hosting a G20 leadership summit, and not sleep on that opportunity of just telling the world what we're all about as a province.
Second day of the Africa Travel Indaba. When we look at Gauteng, an opportunity presents itself, particularly looking to the G20 Summit. From your perspective, what are some of the targets that lie ahead for the province tourism goals?
It's been a bumper 2 days already. As you know, the actual pleasure experience started over the weekend with a Nedbank Cup final with two powerful Gauteng and African teams shafting it out here, boosting the local economy and cementing the power of sports tourism. So our targets are very clear. We need to be here to firstly ensure that the travel trade that is here, the media, the buyers that are here, packages and upsell our products so that we are able to surpass the pre-COVID pandemic numbers. That is the magical number that we are targeting. We need to get back to those magical numbers. Gauteng at the moment still remain the preferred destination for international arrivals. We are set our target of 300 million in terms of SMMEs that benefits from the work that we do. We have set our target around 56 billion rand to be generated out of the visitor economy by the end of March next year. So this travel Indaba is our hunting ground. It's a preferred space, especially when we are looking at intra-Africa trade. We are mindful of the fact that with all these tariff wars, with all these geopolitical tensions, Africa becomes the birthplace in which we need to be trading. This is a place where inter-travel needs to be happening. So we're quite excited that more than ever before, we have more African countries here at Africa's Travel Indaba. And it doesn't get African than in Gauteng, with the cosmopolitan people, with all the embassies that are housed in both Pretoria and Johannesburg. So for us, this is an extension of the work that we have been doing, preparing our supply side, but also showcasing our hosting capabilities. Very successful track meeting of the governors of the Reserve Bank, very successful track meeting of the foreign ministers of the G20 countries. So what we are saying here, you will have seen even in our stand, we have brought in the crime prevention wardens, we have brought in the Gauteng traffic police. One, to ensure that we are not the only one that speaks about the crime prevention effort, because that remains one of the barriers that are standing on our way to achieve our pre-COVID pandemic numbers. So the message is very clear. We are open for business. We are ready to host the world, and we don't want this just to be a world spectacle. We want it to be an African spectacle. So that socialization with our fellow African countries starts here at Africa's Travel Indaba.
I want to go back to the point you made about the mix of business and leisure travel as a unique selling point for the province. What are some of the ways you're seeking to take advantage of that?
Gauteng is a sports entertainment mecca with world-class infrastructure that we have. It's a no-brainer for us. The infrastructure is not just the good stadiums, the arenas that we host, the basketball. We have the NBA Basketball Africa League coming in at Sun Arena. The huge infrastructure that we trade off is the people. Well-trained, qualified assets, sound engineer, quality broadcasters like yourself. That makes the entire spectacle. That makes the entire value chain. But we are also aware that sports fans travel in groups. You can imagine as we prepare to host the 2027 Cricket World Cup, one of our key source market, as National Department has rolled out the Trusted Tour Operator program, is India. Therefore, it becomes important that we start using sports tourism, and especially our golden assets, the Wanderers Stadium. Everybody in India reveres that stadium. So it becomes important that we engage with the travel trade here to say, as your package for the fans that are going to be following your team into South Africa in 2027, don't just go to the stadium, go to our townships to experience our cultural. And that's how we mix leisure and pleasure. We have seen that heads of state as they go into their meetings. The president has also reaffirmed that he will want to take all the G20 heads of states that will be coming into the country to a round of golf. Among others, there is no better place that have the pristine greens where you are able to hit pars straight on the fairways than in Gauteng. So we are able to intersect golf, we are able to intersect business, and that makes a favorable pleasure experience. You are able to get into the space, get into your business meeting, and go and enjoy the Soweto Derby. By the way, there will be another Soweto Derby in October. Sports tourism is quite central because it's not just fans and teams. It's also the commercial aspect. We have seen the phenomenal growth in African Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast, and how that's translated into the infrastructure that is now being able to use for multiple purposes. You are able to host conferences now in stadiums, arena. They are not just places for the matches on Saturday. They are venues for conferences, they are venues for church gatherings and the like. And in Gauteng, we are saying this is our new gold. We used to have gold underneath. Right now, gold is in our sports, it's in our music tourism. That is supported by the 15.5 million people that we have. There's no way you are going to put up a world-class concert in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and you don't get the maximum attendance, surely because of the sheer size, but also air access. In Africa, as we speak about connectivity, all the fans, all the music lovers will be able to use our pristine airports to come and enjoy the music concert. We have seen with the Chris Brown concert that just happened recently, the entire Africa gathered at the FNB Stadium. And that's what we are doing. These are not just music and sports activities. They are economic catalysts.
And lastly, you've made a mention of the use of crime prevention wardens, but what are some of the other interventions you have in place to protect the Gauteng economy, specifically looking at its perception for prospective travel and tourism?
Absolutely. We are in full flight. We are the only province that had pulled all our resources and contributed 3 helicopters to assist South African police services in fighting dedicated crime in Gauteng. Those 3.
And that's how we wrap up this episode of Focus On in Durban at the Africa Travel Indaba. From me, Kiamo Mosipile, and the rest of the CNBC Africa team, it's goodbye for now.